Battlefield 6 has a weapon identity crisis. Not a buff this, nerf that sort of problem. Something deeper. Something foundational. Something you feel every time you pull the trigger but can't quite explain. Let's take a deeper look. So here's the question. Why does a 7.62 rifle hit like it's firing emotional support rounds? Why does every firefight collapse into SMG brawls even on maps that should breathe? Why does the meta feel like it autopilots half your gunfights? In my last video, a viewer wrote a full breakdown, entire paragraphs, about why Battlefield 6 weapon sandbox feels off. And the more I dug into their argument, the more it lined up with what I've been feeling too. The guns aren't bad, the logic behind them is. So, today we're digging into that logic. Why the Battlefield 6 weapon ecosystem feels backwards, what DICE accidentally built into the sandbox, and what needs to be fixed before Season 2 arrives and buries these problems under new toys. And yes, this video is an expansion of the last one because of the few viewers who chimed in managed to spark a conversation worth elevating. So camo up. We're going in. Battlefield's gun philosophy has always rested on three things: weapon identity, frontline stability, and caliber logic. In Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, a 7.62 rifle felt like 7.62. You could trust the recoil, the punch, the mid-range dominance. 5.56 was your fast, light, controllable workhorse. SMGs were kings in tight spaces, liabilities everywhere else. DMRs rewarded precision. Shotguns scared people indoors, not across courtyards. Battlefield 6 throws this entire framework into a blender and hits puree. Right now, 5.56 rifles outgun 7.62 rifles at almost every range. SMGs dominate spray control and ADS consistently. Semi-autos lose at the range they're supposed to own. Shotguns behave like angry gods on weekends. And weapon drop-off curves feel like someone inverted them by mistake. Caliber logic isn't guiding the sandbox. Map density is. One viewer summed it up perfectly. The 7.62 should control mid-range. It doesn't. The TTK is the same, the recoil is worse, and SMGs win just by spraying faster. That's not balance, that's a design contradiction. DICE built a sandbox here. Fast TTK, tight map density, vertical choke points, unreliable range differences, combined to squeeze every fight into the same 20-40 meter blender. That's why everything feels like CQB, even when it isn't supposed to. It's why mid-range engagements feel staged instead of natural. It's why every match plays the same even when the map layout says it shouldn't. This isn't a player skill issue. It's a structural sandbox issue. Let's break this down like mechanics, not influencers chasing shock value. The 7.62 problem. On paper, 7.62 should be the win mid-range if you can control it caliber. More punch, more recoil, more reward. But in Battlefield 6, it kicks harder, doesn't kill faster, drops off sooner, gets punished for misses, loses to SMGs up close, loses to 5.56 at distance. So, what is it? What's its identity supposed to be? Right now, 7.62 rifles feel like they exist because they should, and not because they fill an actual role. They're theoretical weapons, not practical ones. Well, now you got the SMG problem. SMGs in Battlefield 6 feel like they're taking performance enhancers. You get minimal recoil, high rate of fire, generous spread forgiveness, near instant ADS, effective range far beyond what makes sense. They win gunfights at 50-80 meters with embarrassing accuracy and consistency. This isn't a meta born from meta chasers. It's the side effect of map architecture forcing players into SMG comfort ranges, which brings us to the map problem. Blackwell and Sobek, in particular, compress that playable space. Tight flanks, dense center lines, vertical choke funnels, short approach distances. These maps essentially force faster engagements, shorter duels, fewer stable mid-range lines, constant angle checking, more first frame wins. Even if the guns were balanced, the map pushes everything back into the same weapon class anyway. The sandbox is fighting itself. And that brings you to the suppressor problem. Suppressors in Battlefield 6 are generous. Almost too generous. They impose minimal velocity loss, no recoil trade-off, no real damage penalty. Basically, that means any gun becomes a better gun for free. And yes, I know free doesn't mean you didn't grind attachments. I'm talking about mechanical identity, not unlock paths. A suppressed SMG should not be bullying DMRs at 60 meters, but in Battlefield 6 it absolutely can. That leads us to the recoil-to-damage ratio problem. High recoil equals high risk. High recoil should equal high reward. Right now, high recoil guns don't kill faster. Low recoil guns kill too fast. So everyone gravitates towards the easiest recoil pattern with the highest rate of fire. Not because it's fun, because it's the only thing that works consistently. That's not meta. That's sandbox drift. Let's talk player experience, the thing analytics can't measure. If you've ever fired first and still died, not your fault. If you've lost a duel you should have mathematically won, still not your fault. If your rifle paints circles around a moving target while an SMG deletes you from the next zip code, also not your fault. This is not a skill gap. This is a design philosophy gap. Battlefield 6 is trying to blend BF4 weapon identity, BF1 density, Battlefield 5 recoil patterns, 2042 chaos, Call of Duty pacing, modern TTK expectations, all at once. When you mix 6 different philosophies, you end up with a sandbox that isn't sure what it wants to be. Players aren't imagining the inconsistency, they're reacting to it. The good news? If the identity is the issue, not the weapons themselves, this is a fixable problem. DICE doesn't need to gut the meta. They just need to restore logic to the sandbox. Here's a practical path. Restore caliber identity. 7.62 is better at mid-range, slower cadence, higher punch. 5.56, balanced all-rounder, not dominant. SMGs, lethal up close, irrelevant beyond 30 to 35 meters. DMRs should be punishing but rewarding precision. Bring logic back and the sandbox stabilizes. Adjust suppressor downsides. Not aggressively, just enough to preserve hierarchy. A suppressed SMG shouldn't delete a rifle at rifle ranges. Pull SMGs back after 25 meters. A touch of velocity loss fixes this without ruining the fun. And buff 7.62 rewards ratio. Make accuracy matter. Right now, miss shots equals you lose. Hitting shots equals you still lose. That's not balance, that's discouragement. Battlefield 6 doesn't have a gun balance problem. It has a gun identity problem. And identity problems can be fixed without breaking the game. The players who wrote in on the previous video weren't complaining. They were diagnosing. They see the potential, and I see it too. Tell me which gun issue hits you the hardest. Recoil, TTK, map density, suppressors, or something else entirely. And before you dip out, take a moment to check the description. Yes, there's channel info and ways to support the work, but what I want you to look at is this month's Veteran Support Spotlight. This month it's MSGA, Military Support Groups of America. Check out the link, share it, or support it however you can. Thanks for watching, everybody. Till the next one. Out.